Good morning, guys. It's Steve, 26 November Echo 34, based in Hertfordshire. This is part 2 of the follow-on video of the Sharman multiCOM remote programmable antenna. This is the AR-600XL model. So basically, I had a very similar, well, to be honest, it looked exactly the same as what this one does. It just didn't have all the Sharman multiCOM writing on. But apart from that, my old controller used to be exactly the same as this one. So I'm just going to show you guys how to program this, how to basically get it all set up, ready to program. So basically what we need to do is we need to make sure that the controller and the rotator are both pointing in the north direction. So the way we do this is we press the initial button and we press the left hand button, and what happens is it will count down from 360 all the way down to 0, and then it will stop at 0. Now when it stops at 0, we can then program the rotator. However, once this is set to 0, you need to make sure that your antenna is also pointing to north. So my antenna is already pointing to north, so if I just move the camera around so you guys can see the antenna, I don't know if you'll be able to see it much up there. So that is already pointing north. Now I would take the camera outside, however it is raining, so we're not going to do that today. So I know that antenna is already pointing north. Okay, so whilst that is doing that, we will just move that back round, and we're just waiting of this countdown back down to 0. So just give it a few seconds. So that now is set to north. We know the antenna is already pointing north, and we are on 555 there on the 11 meter band. So I've just put a little bit of volume on. We will then program the antenna around to the necessary coordinates in which I want. So as we can hear there on 555, there are some idiots on there at the moment playing music on the calling channel. So well done, you guys. Spoil it for everybody else. Let's just put a little microphone on there so we can pick up the sound. So we're going to program this now. Now the way we do it, we know that 000 there is north. So the way we're going to program this, I'm just going to program that into A. So we'll press the memory button once, it will start to flash, and then we press A, and that basically saves north into A. So we're just going to go to memory again, flashes, press A again, and then press memory so it saves. Okay, so that's now saved to north. Now I've already done a little bit of a crib sheet where basically this is the areas in which I want to have programmed into mine. Okay, so we're going to rotate the antenna around 90 degrees, and that's just going to be east. Okay, so just wait for that coming around. Now I have picked up on a fault that this one does, and my old one done it as well. Now this is brand new out of the box. So basically I bought this off a guy up in Yorkshire who won this at a ham fest. And I think the company that won it from was Moonraker, based in Milton Keynes. Okay, so those obviously won this. Those didn't have any need for it. Those have then sold it on. I've bought it to replace my current system, which is exactly the same, just my current system was a little bit old, and when I purchased that was second hand, so I thought this was an absolute bargain. I think I paid about £120 for this, for the controller, the remote control, and for the rotator, which I'll show you shortly. To buy these brand new from the shop is £200, and then you've got to pay for the postage on top of that. But this one come from Moonraker. I remember seeing the receipt, but obviously wouldn't give us the receipt for it. So yeah, it is still brand new. It's never been put up, etc. But there is a common fault with these, which if it happens during this video, I will show you. Okay, so that is now at 90 degrees. That's pointing east, and we're going to save that into position B. So we're just going to go memory, flashes, press B. That's saved in there. Press memory again, and then memory again. Okay, so if I just want to go north, I just press A, and it will automatically rotate that back round to north. Okay, now this system does come with a remote control, so that's the little remote control there. So I'm going to use that moving forward, just because every time I put my hands in front of the camera, it then focuses on my hand rather than the rotator system. So let's just put this back to B from the controller, and that's going to rotate back around to 90 degrees. And obviously, as the antenna turns, the signals from stations will get a little bit stronger if it's pointing in the right direction. Okay, so we are at 90 degrees there now. So the next one I want to position is C, which I want it at 180 degrees, which would be south. Okay, so we're just going to go around to 180. Okay, so that now is 180. So I can even save it from the remote control. So let's give it a go, because I've never tried it from the remote control. I've always done it from the actual controller itself. So we're going to press memory. It flashes. We're then going to press C. That's it saved in there. Press memory again, and then memory again, and it locks it all in. So the next one, we want to be going west. So that's going to be 270 degrees. So from the controller, we're just going to rotate it around to 270 degrees. And then we're going to save this into D. Okay. I think it takes around about a minute to do a full 360 degrees turn with this rotator system. Okay. So yeah, so that one there, 270, we're now going to save that into D. So press memory. We're then going to press D, and then we're going to press memory, and then memory again to lock that in. Okay, so that's with north, east, south, and west programmed in. Okay, on the A, B, C, and D buttons. Now we have additional buttons, and we have E, F, G, H, I, J, U, and L. They're the ones we're going to program additional positions in, and it's just the positions I like to program. These are different areas of the world that I like to DX to. So the first one I'm going to look at is Japan and New Zealand. Now for my position, that needs to be at 20 degrees for my position. Okay, and I'm going to program that into E. So rather than keep my finger on the button, all I'm going to do, I'm going to press A, take it all the way back around to north. And then once it gets to north, I'm then going to adjust it up to 20 degrees, and then I'm going to save that into E. Now, throughout the day, when I get up in the morning, we'll see stations on from New Zealand, we'll see them on from Japan, Australia, and places like that. And I like to have a few DXs with some people over in Australia. So my favorite one at the moment, who I talk to on and off quite a bit, is John. I think his call sign is 43 Kilo November 03, and he is based, his QTH is Cairns, northeastern Australia, on the east coast of Australia. So he's quite a good station to have a QSO with. Very, very active on the 11 meter band. So yeah, give him a shout. So we're going to rotate the antenna around now to 20 degrees. So there we are at 20 degrees, and we're going to save that into E. So memory, flashes, E, memory, memory again. Okay, so we know, I now know that that is going to be pointing towards Japan and New Zealand at 20 degrees. So the next one I want is East Coast of Australia. Okay, and I'm going to put this one on F. So for my position, 51 degrees. Let's change that around. Just got to get a good position from the controller. So 51 degrees, there we are. So this is going to be the East Coast of Australia, and I'm going to program that into F. So I'm going to press memory, press F, memory, and memory, that's E. I don't want E, I want F. Okay, so memory, sorry, not got a good line of sight with the controller. So memory, I'm going to go F, and then memory, memory again. So now I know that, let's make sure that E is still programmed at 20 degrees for Japan. Yeah, perfect. So take it back to F, which was the east coast of Australia. Now, I also like to talk to a couple of stations on the west coast of Australia and into Indonesia. Now, the position my antenna needs to be is at 71 degrees. So I'm just going to rotate the antenna around to 71 degrees. And I'm going to program this into G. So memory, letter G, that is now saved. And I wanted 71. So that's one fault. I'm pressing the button once and it's taking it up to 72. I press it once again and it goes down to 70. So that's one little issue. It takes it by 1 degree. Now 1 degree for a station that's in Europe is nothing. But for a station that's all the way over the other side of the world, it's quite a distance. Okay, so 71 degrees there. And we're going to program that into G. So memory, G, memory, memory. Okay, so so G is now Western Australia and Indonesia. Now, the next one I'm going to do is H, and this is going to be pointing towards Italy. Now, H is basically the position when I'm not using the radio. I put my antenna in a certain position, and this is the position it's going to be in, pointing at 134 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to go to 134 degrees, and it just so happens that this is pointing at Italy, and it is the position I put my antenna in when I'm not using the antenna. Okay, so bang on 134 degrees. I'm going to press memory, I'm going to press H, I'm going to press memory, and then memory again. Okay, and that's that locked in. So the next one I want is South Africa. Now, I've only had a couple of stations in South Africa, and I do quite like talking to different stations in South Africa. And that's probably one of the areas of the world in which I'm concentrating on, is the African part, just to see how many different QSOs I can get there. So I'm going to program this one into I, and it needs to be at 160 degrees. So let's rotate the antenna around to 160. Okay, so there we go. And this one's going to be into letter I. So memory, I, memory, memory. Okay, so that's now saved. So the next one is Brazil and Argentina. Now, Brazil and Argentina are slightly off. I think Brazil is like, I think Brazil was something like 230 or 226, and Argentina was something like 230 something. So I've gone for in the middle, which is 229. Okay, and then once I get it into that area, then I can find smaller adjustments in order to get a point at the correct country or division that I want to communicate with. So let's rotate this around to 229 degrees. So there's 229 degrees, and we're going to program this into the letter G. So memory, flashes, press J, press memory again, locked in. So the next one is the United States of America. Now, the USA is a huge country. This, I think, mainly concentrates on like the east coast of the east coast of America, and heading towards Central America. But again, you can do finer adjustments. It's, I don't know, if I've got the antenna pointing towards Europe, and then I want to head off and talk to some people in America if they're on, then I just have to press the letter U, and it will take us all the way around. So it's just a coincidence that it's going to be programmed into the letter U. You can remember that by the US of A, U. So yeah, and we're just going to rotate that round to 299 degrees. And then we'll follow the same process with programming it. You will also get Canada on that as well. I do get quite a few Canadians, and I know that for me to talk to anyone in Mexico, which is the 10 division, that's at 291. So again, if I want to talk to somebody in the 10 division, I just rotate it round to America, and then do the tiny small adjustment in order to get it rotated towards Mexico. So that's that one saved in. So we're going to go memory, flashes, press U, press memory, memory again. That's it, locked in. Now there is a reason at the end why I'm pressing memory and then memory again, and I will show you why, because this is what happened when I first set this up and I switched it off. It didn't save any of these coordinates, so I had to reprogram it again. So the final one, which is going to go into L, I'm going to put this as Iceland and Greenland. So basically this one needs to be at 331 degrees for my position. And again, we just go around to 331, and we're going to press memory. We're going to press the letter L, memory, and memory again. So that's all my coordinates saved in. And until I get used to them, I have them all written down here as to what's what. Okay. So always good way to just do a little list of what's what and what letter, and therefore you don't have to keep on looking at your sheet. So if I just grab this sheet here, if you don't know which direction that you want your antenna to point in, then basically you need to go onto this site here, https://ns6t.net, and it will give you a map from wherever you are in the world. So there's my epicenter, and it will tell you roughly where you need to be pointing it. Failing that, if you are on Cluster DX, which I do highly recommend, I'm a gold member on Cluster DX. If you go down the left-hand side of Cluster DX and you go onto the prefix list and you type in the search bar on the right-hand side, it will then tell you, so I don't know, let's say we want to, I don't know, the 5 division being Venezuela. You tap on the blue circle with the dot in it, and it will come up with a window, and it will tell you that the short pass is 254 degrees. So you know from your position, it's going to be 254 degrees, and then you can save it in. So this is where you get your coordinates from. Okay, so there we go. We've just programmed that. Now, a fault that does come up with it, you've seen one of them. The first one is you press the button once, but it takes you 2 or 3 degrees more than what you've asked it to do. So there's fault number 1. The second fault, and it done this on my old system as well, on the other controller that I've just taken out of service and put this one in, it's done exactly the same. When you are doing it manually, okay, every now and again, the screen goes a little bit funny, and I do have a pic there. There we go, it's done it, perfect. The screen goes off like that, okay? And the only way you can get that back to normal is to power it off at the side, count to 5, power it back on, and there we go. It hasn't saved any of their memories, okay? So we're back to 0, okay? And this is now probably the 6th time I've had to reprogram this particular controller. But if you look at my antenna is still pointing towards Greenland and Iceland, okay? But that is how you program it. But for this particular model, for some reason, I don't know why, it keeps on losing its memory, okay? So if it was to save its memory, it would be actually a good little rotator, if I'm being perfectly honest. The other one served me well for coming up to a year, no problems at all. But this one, I've had about a week, and I'm having to reprogram it quite often. So yeah, So if Sharman could fix the issues of, well, there's a couple of little issues. First one is where it goes 1 or 2 or 3 degrees more than what you've asked it to do. Second one is the screen keeps on going a little bit. Well, it just loses its pixelation. It goes all over and jumps all over. Then you have to turn it off and turn it back on. And the third one was when you power it off and power it on, it loses its memory. And the fourth one, sorry, is underneath in video 1, when you come in to put cables into the actual controller, there's no opening. You're having to squeeze the cables through a tiny little hole where you should be able just to pop off 2 screws, take off like a little locking mechanism, put the cable in, attach it all in, put the cable over the top and screw it back into place, which will then hold the cables into place. Just makes it easier for the end user. So this is video number 2. Video number 3 is we are going to change the rotator on the antenna. However, because of the size and heaviness of the antenna, try and get that zoomed in there, which is just that box there, because of the size and the heaviness of the antenna and the pole, I mean, that's 26 feet off the ground. We're looking at this box here. I don't know if I'll get that on the camera. This box here, that's all we're going to change. At the top of that pole is the rotator, and that's what we're going to change. So, do I recommend this antenna? Sorry, this rotator? Yeah, I do. Can it be better? Yep, absolutely it can. Just with ironing out them few little faults. But yeah, I'm going to have another go now at reprogramming the antenna. But now I need to reset both the controller and the antenna back to 0. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is just to rotate that round. So we'll leave that there, guys. I'll set and reprogram this, and then yeah, look out for video number 3. Take care, 73s. Just a quick follow-up. I managed to program it again, so it's all programmed and saved in the memory. So if I turn it off by the side, I hope it does this, because I've just tested it and it has saved. But no, my luck, now that the camera's rolling, I'll switch it off, switch it back on, and it'll be back to 0. So let's see. So powering off, gonna leave it for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, power on. So it's saved in there. So I was just having a little think there as I was reprogramming it. Obviously, this is like a budget rotator and controller, you know, and for £200, it's actually all right if it saves the memory and that screen stopped doing the, you know, where it goes around a little bit funny. But yeah, apart from that, it is a half decent rotator. However, if you can't be hassled with having to keep reprogramming it, then, you know, and depending on what your budget is, I'd probably recommend a much better quality rotator. The ones that I have been looking at are Yaesu rotators. They're quite good, and all the feedback seems to be really, really positive. I've not had one myself. I've not owned one. So yeah, I can't really say. I'm just going off people's feedback that I've read online, and everybody else seems to be using them. But I mean, there are so many different rotators out there. But again, it just depends on your budget. For a budget rotator, this is, you know, this is as good as it gets. I think at £200. But there are better ones out on the market. So anyone from Yaesu, you know, that watches this, if you've got a rotator that you want to have reviewed, I'm more than happy to give you a review on it. So yeah, just to show you that it has held the memory, we'll just have a flick through the band and 11 meters, see what we can hear.
A new studio microphone from Shure. And yes, if you don't mind, I'd like to have some feedback about my modulation. Over.
We'll try and find out what division this station's in. and see if we can rotate the antenna more to them to see if we get a better,
Okay,
stronger
many
signal.
thanks, many thanks. I will drop the professor now. Okay, David, did you get some good yaks today? Okay. Propagation is a bit strange for us in South Italy.
So he's in
Because
Italy. So
signal
Italy
are
needs to
going up
be
and down all the time, and yes,
134
it
degrees.
changes
So that's
every
saved
5
at
minutes,
H. So I press H on the control. He should be coming in strong in a moment.
Okay, very good. Okay, David, thank you very much for the QSO.
So you go,
My
he's 9
70
plus
degrees,
10.
I will make a round on 11, and yes, I'll hope to catch you soon, and
Yeah,
good luck
pointing
and
towards
good
Italy. Much stronger signal, and you can see there on the scope there's other stations down on the band. So let's have a quick flick through.
Operation India Foxtrot 8045 calling 165 dash operation Foxtrot Fox 1845 calling and listening on the 27 decimal 705.
705. Sure, he said it was 165 division.
Delta Alpha Operation India Fox 1845 possible call QZ.
So he needs to be at 148 degrees for this one. And this is Sardinia, so 148. Let's have a quick go at having a chat with him. See if we can get him.
Roger, yes, very loud propagation, strong
I think he said he was portable as well.
Yeah, please, in the log.
26 November Echo 34. 26 November Echo 34. QRZ.
26 November Echo, come again.
Yes, my friend. 26 November Echo number 3 number 4. The operator name is Steve, like Sierra Sierra, Tango Tango, Echo Echo, Victor Victor, Echo Echo. Back to you, my friend.
Roger, Steve. 26 November Echo, Steve, you're 5 and 5, 55 in the log.
QSL, my friend, QSL. Good luck with your activations, 73s and 51s to you and your family. Good DX, my friend. Take care.
1T586,
And then straight away, another station straight over the top before we're finished. Some stations just need to have just a little bit of patience. But yeah, so again, we'll just flick to the bands. We'll just go back down into 555. Pick up different stations as we're going through. Rotate the antenna back to east. So yeah, so basically that's how you program this rotator if and when it decides it wants to keep hold of the memory. But yeah, you know, it's decent enough for the money. It may take you a little bit of getting used to and get your head around programming it. But yeah, for each one there, I had to go and save it 4 times. So for B, I kept on having to press memory B, memory B, memory B, memory B, and then it finally saved it. So yeah, so for £200, you can't complain. I'll put a link down in the description. It is from Moonraker in Milton Keynes. Obviously, Moonraker didn't make or design this. They are just, you know, a company that's selling the product. And, you know, there are other ones out there. I think Martin Lynch as well has got them up for sale. And Lamco up in Yorkshire, they're another one. But yeah, there's plenty of different TAM stores around. Also, give a look at Canny Components up in Newcastle upon Tyne. give them a look into. They've got a website, they've got Facebook as well. Those get some really good radios, and you know, some of the deals they have on and the price of their radios is really, really good. So give Dave and Amanda a shout. Follow them on Facebook as well, guys. They're called Canny Components. Okay. So yeah, that is the end of part 2 of this video. So look out for part 3. I don't know when part 3 will get done, because as I say, it'll probably be just before Christmas or during the Christmas period when my son's down, because basically when I can only do it when he's down. So when Daniel 26 November Echo 78 is down, that is when we take the antenna completely down, and then we'll change that rotator at the top. So until then, 73s, 51s. If you hear us on the band, give me a shout. And yeah, hope to catch you soon. Take care.